Alton Towers is the biggest theme park in the UK and has so many different rides and attractions. They have a wide variety of areas and also indoor rides that are heavily themed, alongside many world record breaking coasters that are all unique in their own way. Except from that one. But when visiting the park, we often walk around and don't really take in the full surroundings that surround us. And we often miss those little Easter eggs and nostalgic homages within those areas, and sometimes the rides too. So today, I thought it'd be quite cool to gather up 35 different Easter eggs and little hidden secrets at Alton Towers that you might have missed when you visited the park. And there's actually a few in this video that I didn't know were a thing before I started making this. So be sure to watch till the end to see if you have spotted them all. And if you aren't already, then please be sure to subscribe to the channel. We are getting ever so close to 90,000 subscribers now, so if you want to help towards that goal, it'd be greatly appreciated. So then, the Alton Towers Resort and its hidden secrets and Easter eggs. What are they? Well, I'm going to take you on a virtual and sort of verbal tour, because I'm not actually going to walk through the park virtually, of them all, going through the different areas and rides. And I know there is only 35 in here. There's a lot more than just those. So if I do forget one that you think was quite cool and you've spotted it at the park yourself, then leave it in the comments below, and 1,000 likes, and I'll do one for Thought Park. Because why not? And we're going to make our way first to X Sector, where the Smiler and Oblivion are. And there's actually quite a few little hidden secrets on the Smiler. If you walk along to the entrance, you have the Smiler sign with the 14 cameras around the logo. Totally not a coincidence, that. When you walk down into the queue line, it's not really a hidden Easter egg because it's very much in your face, but you may not have noticed it because you have to be at a certain angle for it to look right. You can actually see the word "Join Us" written across the wall and sort of the supports in like depth background and stuff. It's a really cool illusion, but some people do miss that. You continue walking, there's SW7 written on some of the supports, which that is the code name for the Smiler, Secret Weapon 7. There are some screens that play some videos in the queue line, and if you actually watch it, there's a portion where it actually takes you through the 14 inversions and puts a picture up against it, which shows the name of that loop. For instance, the 11th and 12th inversion on the ride is actually called a Cobra Roll, and in this video, you can see the 11th and 12th is a Cobra, and it does that for every single inversion on the ride and goes through them very quickly, so sorry for the lack of footage here. If you know your sort of loops and inversions, then cool little thing. If you walk into the indoor section of the queue line, where they have the baggage hold, which is sometimes open, if you actually look up, there are some paint rollers on the ceiling with sort of unfinished paint or something, whatever the hell they're doing up there. And supposedly they were actually left up there because, you know, they're still just hanging there by paint, as a nod to the fact that the ride was delayed in opening. Because if you're unaware, the Smiler was supposed to open in March and it opened in late May. And that is quite a funny and cool use of those paint rollers and stuff. But what isn't cool and funny, actually it is quite funny because I don't know how this happened. Whilst you're on the ride, it's going to be very hard to spot because you're just going to fly straight past it. But there is a concrete footer for some supports of the ride that was put in the complete wrong place. Yeah, I don't really know how that happens either. But something else as well that you may have seen on the way out of the ride is a glass floor that appears to be at the end of the Smiler shop. Now that glass floor, you can try and look through it and you just don't get anywhere with it. And that is because this is one-way glass that was supposed to be the other way around, so you could actually look down and see the track beneath you. But you can't because they put it on the wrong way around. Unless it is the right way around and I'm just not looking hard enough. Sticking to the same area, of course, we then go over
to Oblivion.
And one thing a lot of you may know if you are an enthusiast or even just watched a few of my videos, I guess, is the fact that Oblivion, despite being the world's first vertical drop roller coaster, the drop isn't actually vertical. Apparently, if you measured the angle of the drop, it is 87.5 degrees. So it's only 2.5 degrees off vertical, but that ain't vertical, my friend. But it's one of those facts that is quite funny to know. Although something quite cool when you're walking through the queue line of Oblivion is the fact there is this one room that you seem to always pass by every time you go around that bloody hill, which that hill was made from all the mud that they dug up for the whole of Oblivion. That's another little hidden secret. But in the centre of that building, there is some weird, like, lighting thing with a tube and a ball at the end, and what could it be? Well, that is actually a projector from one of two places. I'm not too sure which one it is, but there's two speculated. One place is the old Cine 2000, which was a cinema at the park, and the other is some form of planetarium, which was either at the park or at Madame Tussauds in London. So I haven't got a clue. If anyone knows the real answer, thank you. Please tell me. Something that is technically dead in the water, but has still stayed around for a little bit longer, is their classic ride, the Corkscrew. Now, of course, everybody and their nan, and the pigeon outside as well, you know, don't you? Yeah, he knows. We all know the front entrance of Alton Towers has the double corkscrew from that ride over the top of where you walk in. But what you may not have known is because 13, the Dark Forest roller coaster, replaced it, they've actually stuck the lift hill motor for the corkscrew on the brake run of 13, which I think is really cool, and I do like that little bit of respect to Corkscrew. Along with that, you may not have noticed, but in the queue line for 13, there is an old van with the old Alton Towers logo on it, so a very, very retro sort of looking van. There are actually gravestones throughout the queue line that count up to 13, which I think is a very missed factor by a lot of people, but I do really like the fact that that's there. There's no real interesting things I found about Rita, as per. So we'll head back towards Wickerman, the huge statue, and of course the main wooden roller coaster that's around it. It is quite easy to miss, but once you're getting off the ride, if you actually look behind you and up in the on-ride Photoshop, there's a huge wicker ram head that is just, I don't even know why it's there, but it looks insane. Just look at how well made that is. And just outside of the ride, there is a pub called the Welcome Inn. And before the Wickerman opened, there was a brand new maze in the courtyard right next to where that pub is now called the Welcoming. So, and that was themed to the Wickerman and the sort of run up to it. So they've called the pub after that maze, which I think is quite a nice piece of homage to a 1-year attraction, or 2 years, I can't remember how long it went on for. If we then take a walk towards the other end of the park where Curse and the Forbidden Valley is, there are so many little things we can spot. One pathway, if you walk along it, you can actually take a look into the woods and see the footers and even a piece of the trough of the flume, the old log flume, which was where the Wickerman now is. And as much as it really shouldn't be there, it is quite cool to see a piece of history like that still sat at the park. There also was a duck and a shower hose nozzle thing on the rapids, which I think was just a bit of homage to the flume again. I'm not too sure if that's still there though, so we'll leave that one out. But talking of the flume and paying homage to old rides, the new for 2023 dark ride, the Curse at Alton Manor, does that a lot. Before you even enter the area, there are massive metal signs on the gates that say Wardley Estate, which, if you don't know, John Wardley is the original designer of the Haunted House and Nemesis and many other rides at the park. There's also signs with the name Burton in it as well, which is John Burton, who designed the new Curse at Alton Manor. And then the queue line alone, there's so many there as well. You've got loads of little gravestones with writing about sort of Ripsaw, Black Hole, both old attractions, the same with the Corkscrew that's there too. I'm pretty sure there is one about the flume there as well, but that's not the only homage to that one, because on the ride there are so many different references to old rides and attractions and current ones that you can spot throughout the entire ride experience. But there are Bjornen matches, which of course is reference to the Wickerman being a fiery ride. There's talk about toys, Talbot Street, which is all linking together with Toyland Tours, which used to be where the Dungeons is now. The Blade gets a mention. There's a huge Ripsaw, like Ripsaw. Wild Mouse Poison, World Brand Pins, which is to do with Around the World in 80 Days, because there's 80 pins in that box. Another reference to the Corkscrew there, and obviously a ton of references to the old jewel that used to be in that building. But that was new for 2023. Walking down, you then see what is new for 2024, and of course that is the upgraded Forbidden Valley. There are so many Easter eggs in here, it's unbelievable. Nemesis Subterra, of course, is an egg viewing museum, and those eggs you see a lot in the area, dotted around in random like cargo crates and stuff. So I guess that's a bit of a hidden feature, although it's right in front of your face. PA-1X is referenced a lot, which is to do with the Phalanx's HQ, which is Nemesis Subterra. And like I said, not just Subterra, but Nemesis related. Oh my god, there's a whole list. Not only are the eggs everywhere in the area, they're also in the shop. as well. And that shop actually has the old Nemesis eye inside of it. If you remember from the original Nemesis, the monster creature, there was this little eye that would poke out from just above the exit of the station. That's now in Bunker 94, just sat in the corner on the top shelf. Thunder V is what the helicopter is called as you enter Forbidden Valley. That is a reference to the fact that area used to be called Thunder Valley. SBIFT is on the other helicopter in Forbidden Valley, and that is a reference to what they used to say when Nemesis dispatched, which was sit back, it's fright time. The huge gun in the queue as well has A90, TV92, FV94 written on it, which is Aqualand 1990, which is what that area was before Thunder Valley. TV is Thunder Valley 1992, and then Forbidden Valley 1994. The rocks that you see around with the veins going all over them, of course, the veins weren't there when they first put them in. But much like the Oblivion queue line, those rocks were actually blasted out from the Nemesis pits and placed just around the area. So they're real. They're from the Nemesis creature archaeology dig site. Air Command is written on the maintenance bay on Nemesis as well, which is a reference to what Galactica used to be. Air, and they actually do reference air in the video that plays in the Galactica station, but they barely play it anymore, so I didn't know if I wanted to put it in this video or not. But that is quite cool in itself. John Burton, John Wardley, and the project name of Project Relentless is on one side of the pre-show container. The Nemesis Reborn track that is literally just lying in the queue line. First of all, we thought that must be fake track. Why are they putting real track there? They haven't finished it yet. What's going on? Well, it actually turns out, if you remember during the construction period of Nemesis Reborn, they took forever to finish it off because pieces actually didn't fit into the layout. Because they didn't fit, they just had spare pieces of track lying around. So what better to do than put them in the queue line and just use them as a bit of theming? Why not? And one of the weirdest hidden things at the park that is very similar to the flume still being there, I guess, is what you're seeing on your screen right now. Now, you may be thinking, what the hell is that? Why are there just fences in the middle of just loads of shrubbery? Well, apparently, and I really hope this is true, that old fencing that you can see covered in leaves is actually just an overgrown area where Thunder Looper's queue line used to be. Thunder Looper used to be a shuttle looping roller coaster that used to be in that area, and it got removed because I think locals complained it was too loud, too tall. But again, like the Flumes one with the trough, it shouldn't really still be there because that is very old and should be gone the minute it closed. But I do quite like the fact it is still there because, you know, bit of character. Why not? That is the 35 things you might have missed at Alton Towers. I definitely listed more than 35, so you're welcome for more content. But like said, if you want to see this for Thought Park, 1,000 likes, and I'll do that. Leave any I missed down below in the comments, and subscribe. Bye-bye.